In the headlines, ahead of APC presidential primary, President Muhammadu Buhari meets party chairman and governors. Governor Nyesom Wike alleges gang-up against Southern presidency. Rochas Okorocha granted 500 million naira bail, remanded in custody. And on the foreign scene, Israel signs first Arab free trade agreement with UAE. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Hello and welcome once again. President Muhammadu Buhari holds meeting with the 22 governors of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, ahead of the much-anticipated presidential primary election, now scheduled to hold from Monday 6th to Wednesday 8th of June 2022. In attendance at the meeting with governors operating under the aegis of the Progressive Governors Forum is the national chairman of the party, Senator Abdullahi Adamu. Only the governor of Kaduna State is being represented by his deputy at the meeting being held at the council chambers of the State House, Abuja. Daily Trust learned that the meeting was convened to discuss the forthcoming presidential primaries and the need to have a united position. The APC postponed its special convention for presidential primary from Sunday 29th to Monday 30th of May 2022 to Monday 6th to Wednesday, 8th of June 2022, after the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, extended the deadline for the submission of lists of candidates by political parties. The president later left for Madrid, Spain for a two-day state visit to the European nation. Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress, APC, will continue the screening of its presidential aspirants today ahead of the party's primary scheduled to take place between June 6th and 8th. A total of 11 presidential hopefuls are expected to appear before the APC Presidential Screening Committee, led by a former Edo State governor and former APC National Chairman John Oyegun. They include the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the Senate President, Ahmad Lawan, Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti, former Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Dimeji Bankole, and oil magnate Tain Jack Rich. Former Governor of Imo State, Senator Rochas Okorocha, is also expected to appear before the panel after he was granted bail by a federal high court in Abuja in an alleged 2.9 billion naira fraud case being prosecuted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The APC panel had screened 12 presidential hopefuls in the course of the exercise, expected to last 2 days at the Transcorp Hilton Hotel in Abuja. And still talking politics, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has said some people in the People's Democratic Party governors ganged up with some vested interested groups to derail the quest for southern Nigeria to produce the next president. The Rivers State Governor disclosed this at a grand reception organized by Rivers people on Monday in Port Harcourt to welcome him back from Abuja after the PDP presidential primary. There is an element of surprise in the emergence of candidates after months of political consultations and calculations from different political aspirants jostling for different positions to emerge as flag bearers for their respective parties in Katsina State. The two leading political parties, the All Progressive Congress and the People's Democratic Party in the state, conducted their primary elections in what was described as the most free and fair primary election since the return of democracy. Trust TV's Jamil Mabai report that the development and files in this report.
The long-awaited period has ended as victors emerged, and the question remains: would aspirants who couldn't clinch the ticket support their party flag bearers? Mouths are waging on the role of delegates in primary election and on the choices made by the delegates. Political godfatherism and imposition of candidates make politics in Katsina less competitive in the past, but this time the game is different, with big names losing party primaries.
But actually, those smaller numbers of the people that were saddled with the responsibility to elect officials that will flag the party flags in the upcoming general election. Actually, the smaller number affected the outcome of the result of the election, because we all know that it is easier to manipulate smaller numbers than larger numbers.
Two governorship candidates that emerged from the two leading political parties of All Progressive Congress and the People's Democratic Party took everyone by surprise, given the popularity of other candidates tipped to clinch the ticket. Dr. Umar Ratna defeated 8 other aspirants, including the former Secretary to the State Government, Mustafa Inwa, and the Katsina State Deputy Governor, QS Manir Yakubu, with a total of 506 votes. While Yakubu Ladu Damarke of PDP won the election with 700 votes, defeating Salisu Majigiri, the former state PDP party chairman. In APC, all the incumbent senators from the 3 geopolitical zones failed to secure their tickets. On the other hand, Mustafa Muhammad Inwa, a leading contender for the APC gubernatorial ticket, congratulated Dukko Ratna and urged his supporters to support the party flag bearer. Whatever the outcome of the election, experts say the new system of choosing party delegates and the new electoral law played a critical role in producing aspirants via a free and fair process. Jamil Mobai, Trust TV News, Katsina.
Meanwhile, son of late Kwara State Governor Hakeem Lawal has emerged as the governorship candidate under the Social Democratic Party. He defeated 2 other aspirants to emerge the winner of the primary election. He had earlier emerged as the candidate of the party, but the primary election was cancelled due to a petition written against his victory. In the second primary election, Mr. Lawal polled 606 votes to defeat former chairman of the Federal Character Commission, Professor Shuaib Abdul Rahim, who polled 177 votes, and Mr. Bolaji Khalil, who had no vote. None of the aspirants was present at the primary election. Mr. Lawal was one of the APC governorship aspirants in Kwara State in 2019. The chairman of the Kwara SDP gubernatorial primary election, Mr. Olatunji Agbaminoja, announced the results of the election.
Hakeem Oladinoji Lawal scored 606. Professor X. Oba Abdulkarim 177. By the power confirmed to me, hereby declared Hakeem Oladinoji Lawal as the winner of these primaries.
And now to judicial matters, where the Abuja Division of the Federal High Court has ordered former Imo State Governor and presidential aspirant of the All Progressive Congress APC, Rochas Okorocha, to remain in EFCC custody until he perfects the conditions attached to his bail. Justice Inyang Ekwo made the order after admitting the ex-governor to bail in the sum of 500 million naira and 1 surety in like sum. Equally admitted to bail by Justice Inyang Ekwo is his co-accused, Anyim Nyerere, who was cited in a 17-count money laundering charge. The report.
The court ordered that Okorocha's surety must have a property in Abuja not below 500 million naira and the original title documents of the property be deposited with the court registrar. In addition, the court ordered that Senator Okorocha's travel documents be deposited with the court registrar and barred him from overseas travel without the permission of the court.
We'll fulfill it. They are normal bail conditions. We'll fulfill it. And my client is a notable serving senator. So the idea of running away is ruled out. He will fulfill the condition. He has never run away. Only that, like I said yesterday, He was never properly served. Before you can say he didn't come, he must have served, but he wasn't served. He has come, and you will see that he will come to take his trial. And the bail conditions are normal bail conditions will meet them.
In the case of Inyerere, the second defendant, the court ordered that he should continue on the administrative bail granted him by EFCC for exhibiting good conduct while on bail.
Exactly, the judge in his infinite wisdom has granted the second defendant bail on the administrative conditions given by the EFCC. If you look at it, you see that the court was of the view that the second defendant has never defaulted in the administrative bail granted to him. And throughout the proceedings of this case, he has never absented himself. Our client is a very responsible citizen of the Federal Nigeria, and the court has affirmed that. So we believe that before the end of today, it's going to perfect that by EFCC transferring their file to the court, and he will be allowed to go.
According to the presiding judge, Justice Iyang Eko, though he held that bail is to the discretion of the court, he said that due to the conduct of the first defendant, which is Rochas Okorocha, he would not be granted a customary bail. And this acts with self-recognizance. Rochas Okorocha was a governor in Nigeria, and he's a serving senator. So right now, the court has ordered that he be remanded in EFCC custody until he's able to meet up his bail conditions to the later. The trial has been adjourned to the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th of November 2022. Martia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, University of Maiduguri students have decried the continuous yet inconclusive negotiations between the government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. These students are unhappy that despite prolonged negotiations, they have been shut out of academic activities for the past 4 months. Trust TV speaks with some undergraduates in Maiduguri on how they are facing life outside campus. The report.
Before the 4-month strike, University of Maiduguri was full of life as students and staff went about their normal academic routines. Today, it has become deserted as lecture halls are filled with dust and littered papers. Some classes under lock and key with few offices open. But this is not the story for Borno State University, as it recently matriculated over 2,000 students.
Faculty of Agriculture. It is also pertinent to note that character constitutes one of the major considerations of awarding degrees.
It is the wish of Abubakar Ghana, a 100-level student who comes to his department every day to study, that the strike will be called off soon. He, amongst other things, laments that he will not graduate at the expected time if the federal government and ASU fail to come to an agreement.
Somebody that's supposed to graduate within 4 years or 5 years is can end up graduating within like 8 years or 9 years. But when they did not call back, well, I think I'm changing the institute. I'll go for maybe private or state university in Borno State like those.
Now I am just doing a handwork, which I'm a carpenter. So I'm just managing with the carpentry work. But even now I have a work to do in southern Nigeria. But due to this, I don't want to go far and the strike to call back. So that is why I'm still sitting here managing for the ASU to resume, and then before I move to my second plan, because my first plan is to graduate, and all the other activities is outside is when I have my first plan.
The issues that have kept students home border on revitalization funds for universities, renegotiation of 2009 agreement, and end allowances for lecturers, among others.
You can imagine a university that has a capacity of up to 70,000 students, and now you don't have that number. You can imagine the economic activities that we put on hold. You find out that students that are coming up from secondary school that are supposed to now come into the university are as well delayed. And at times you will have like 2 sets of students that are supposed to come into the university held in one place.
At the moment, the leadership of the country is focused on next year's election, with politicians promising solutions to Nigeria's educational problems. Some are optimistic that the federal government will bow to ASUU's demands just to score political points ahead of the general elections.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. Still to come on the news, Katsina lepers cry out. This and more after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Update. Now we'll look at our top stories. Ahead of APC presidential primary, President Muhammadu Buhari meets party chairman and governors. And Governor Nyesom Wike has alleged a gang-up against Southern Presidency. And in other news, police operatives in Zamfara State have arrested a suspect for culpable homicide and being in possession of a severed human hand. Zamfara Police Command spokesman Muhammad Shehu in the statement said the suspect was arrested by the joint police and military operatives on anti-banditry operations along Dauran-Zurmi axis. The statement further said preliminary investigation revealed that the suspect is among members of the outlawed group Ensake, who have been terrorizing members of Dauran community through jungle justice, leading to reprisal attacks by terrorists against the innocent members of the public. Osun State government on Tuesday says the monthly food distribution to 30,000 vulnerable residents will be sustained because of its impact on the people and the economy of the state. Secretary to the state government, Prince Wale Oyebamiji, said this in Oshogbo during the unveiling of the food items purchased for distribution to vulnerable residents. Oyebamiji said the state governor, Adeboyega Oyetola, remains committed to the welfare of the poor and vulnerable in the state.
And we made a promise on that day that on a monthly basis, 30,000 units of food items will be distributed to the generality of the people of the state. This has continued, and we are glad to say that today is the 14th edition. The issue of election has absolutely nothing to do with our promise to the people of our state. We are a government, and government continues to run, election or no election. So we believe that we have a statutory duty to them, as we promised them 14 months ago. And that is why we are here today again, flagging off the 14th edition of the food support scheme to the people of the state.
Babbaruga Hospital in the suburb of the ancient city of Katsina was established to treat and take care of leprosy and tuberculosis patients over 50 years ago. As an international referral center for leprosy and tuberculosis, as well as other infectious diseases, the hospital is first of its kind in northern Nigeria. However, since the conversion of the hospital to National Obstetrics Fistula Center in 2013, leprosy and tuberculosis patients have been finding it very difficult to get admission and other follow-up cases in the hospital. Abdullahi Ahmadi takes a look at the plight of the patients and the current position of the hospital. The report.
For the past 40 to 50 years, leprosy and tuberculosis patients come to Babbarga Hospital for medication and treatment. The patients, when admitted at the hospital, were later discharged after recuperating to settle at Ereshanye village, which is a stone throw from Babbarga, for regular follow-ups. This continued over time up to 2013, when the hospital was transformed and converted to its present status. However, the transformation did not go down well with the leprosy and tuberculosis patients, who claimed the hospital was established to reduce their sufferings several years ago. As you can see, I am sick. I have a general body pain. Look at my eyes and my skin. All is not well. As it is now, I can't access medical care because of distance issue. Since the Babbarga Hospital ejected us from its services, we are hopeless and helpless. They also blamed authorities for throwing them out of the system after the transformation and conversion of the hospital. Though majority of patients with old and new leprosy cases were not around during this visit to Ereshanye village, people such as Sarkin Kutari, his secretary Malam Umar, decry stigmatization and lack of concern to their plight as some of their constraints. All my patients can no longer be admitted to Babbarga Hospital since 2013, and we are suffering since then. It's pathetic. As the secretary to Sarkin Kutari, I always take our patients to Kofar Kaura Center, but they don't admit new cases. They only treat those on follow-ups. We have to take our patients to Maradi in Niger Republic. These people say they are dying in silence as a result of abject poverty and the proximity between the village and the Kofar Kaura Center, where they are being referred to for medication. Take a look at my body. Leprosy has finished me. There is no support or help from anywhere. We have been in this condition for a long time now. The medical director of the hospital said that the Katsina State government is providing enough drugs and other medical consumables to treat the patients. He reminds the state government for its earlier pledge to build an infectious disease hospital in Katsina.
For over 40 years, this hospital has been treating fistula patients, TB and leprosy patients. But this center was taken over by the federal government on the 19th of December 2013, precisely to become a federal government institution that treats only fistula patients. According to her, this could at least reduce the sufferings of the leprosy and tuberculosis patients, besides removing the economic barrier and risk of traveling this long distance to Maradi in Niger Republic for medication. Abdullahi Ismail Ahmadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Now, as part of relentless efforts of the Nigerian Navy in fighting maritime illegalities, the Nigerian Navy has flagged off a multinational maritime exercise codenamed Exercise Eddie Diana, aimed at tackling maritime security threats within the Gulf of Guinea. The exercise is in collaboration with West African and Central African countries, including Togo, Cameroon, Ghana, the European Union, where the United States Coast Guard will tackle anti-piracy, illegal and unregulated fishing, as well as other maritime security threats. The report.
Flagging off exercise Edi Diana, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabor at the Federal Ocean Terminal on a River State, urged the Nigerian Navy to strengthen its collaboration with other countries' navies to fight maritime insecurity in Gulf of Guinea and Africa in general. Irabor said it is by building forces together and collaboration that the country will be able to access the benefits inherent from ocean not only for Nigeria but equally for the Committee of Nations.
The whole essence is to rid our maritime domain, especially the Gulf of Guinea, of every maritime security threat. So this exercise is intended to galvanize the capacities and the resources of the various navies that I've just mentioned, so that together we can achieve the objective of security within our commons. So this is why we're here, and the exercise is going to be for the next couple of days.
The Chief of Defense Staff also hinted the federal government's commitment to increase Navy platforms to effectively secure the nation's territorial waters.
Building capacities, I'm sure you know that currently we're faced with a myriad of security challenges on land and of course in the maritime environment. And so it requires a constant review of the capacities of the armed forces to be able to do this, so that the training and equipment will be enhanced. So what I referred to was the effort of government to ensure that we increase the capacities of the Navy by way of additional platforms, talking about seagoing vessels. I'm sure you know of the ones that we've gotten, and there are others that are also expected. Then across the range of training, quite a lot has happened with the Navy. I'm sure that what you're seeing on board here attests the fact that quite a lot has happened with respect to training. So this is precisely what I'm talking about, and I'm hopeful that as we remain on this trajectory, in the few years to come, the armed forces that we have, not only will we be proud of them, they will be able to take out every threat that that faces us before they even occur.
Earlier in his address, the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Gambo, said the exercise Edi Diana presents ample opportunities for the Nigerian Navy to work together with other national and regional navies in the spirit of the Yaoundé Accord. The exercise is one of the events lined up to celebrate the 66th anniversary of the Nigerian Navy.
And now a look at the foreign scene, where Israel has signed a free trade agreement with the United Arab Emirates, its first big trade accord with an Arab state, a move aimed at boosting trade between the two Middle Eastern nations. The pact was signed in Dubai by Israel's Minister of Economy and Industry, Orna Barbivai, and her counterpart, UAE Minister of Economy, Abdullah bin Tuq Al-Mari, on Tuesday after months of negotiations. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.